Unprofessional. You're showing what life behind the lens is like now.
It is. We're back.
After a while.
Yeah.
And it's not through, I mean, we say this every week, it's not through wanting of doing this, it's just the reality, because we message each other, you're in London, I'm away, you're here, I'm away, you know, it's impossible sometimes.
Spanish Zach.
That's it, sun-kissed Zach, you know, I was fresh from a siesta and €2 pints of lager, so, you know, it is what it is. It wasn't very Spanish, the holiday, I'll tell you that.
I was thinking full English breakfast every day.
It was probably the least cultural experience of my life, but it was nice to. All I wanted to do, Carl, was sit by the pool and drink beer, and that's what I did.
Happy days.
Yeah. How are you? Are you all right?
Okay, yeah. I was in London last week, and then I came home on Saturday, and then went back to London on Tuesday.
Really? I saw you went back twice. Why did you go back the second time?
Work.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Well, Crawley.
Yeah.
Which is the other side of London. So
and you weren't very impressed by the capital, were you, this time?
No, I don't like the place.
No, I don't like it.
But we were drinking in a pub where it was $3.50 a pint.
That is a steal.
I don't understand it, because it's £5.50 a pint in Harwood.
That's That is a steal.
It makes no sense.
That's unbelievable.
So
well.
Right. So should we crack on? So first of all, we're just talking about this. We've been doing at the start of these comings and goings. Yeah. We're just going to skip that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because that was never the intention of these. It was to keep people informed of what was going on. Yeah. So, should we just entirely skip the comings and goings?
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think there's been too many since January.
Well, we lost Warren left, didn't he? He was the first team coach.
Yeah.
Warren's probably been to more games as a supporter.
Yeah. It was Warren's second stint with the club, wasn't it? So Warren was coach under Michael Clegg.
He was assistant manager.
Under Michael Clegg, of course. Yeah. Then came back as coach to support Chaddy, and I just think Warren just decided to take a step back, which is fair enough, isn't it? Really, and Josh Askew then kind of came into that coaching role, but then Josh, I think, wanted to pursue his playing career, and knew that wasn't really going to happen there. So he's now gone to FC United, which, to be fair, he's played a matter of minutes since, hasn't he? So it's one of those things. There's been no real change to the squad. We've kind of done well to keep, I think, a core to it.
Well, this is one of the things that Rob wanted us to mention, wasn't it?
Yes.
The transfer deadline, or whatever it is, has passed.
So basically, in non-league, you don't have a deadline day person. Well, you do have a deadline day, but it only comes, around once a year, really, and that has passed now. And I think, to be fair to Chaddy, he's done very, very well. We were talking about this, to keep hold of the likes of Enoch Luciama, Lewis Mansell and stuff like that. And recruitment, I'm sure everybody can see, has been such a strong point for Chaddy, because players like Enoch Luciama is the best forward, I would say, we've had at this level.
Yeah, no question.
And he actually reminds me a bit of Mark Battersby. And I would say he's one of the best forwards we've had since that Battersby cover. Mansell and Luciama are probably the best partnership we've had since Battersby and Cover. And for Chaddy to attract them when the club has actually been
at this level, because we've been screaming out forever. I think Brad telling me the amounts of money it would cost to bring in our goal scorer at this level. And
what we've been able to do is, but he's also, what Chaddy's done is he's brought them in when arguably the club's been in its most vulnerable state since before Cleggy, I would say. Do you know what I mean? And when I say vulnerable, I mean, we're in a period of transition, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? And it clearly is the strength of Chaddy's, this recruitment, because he pulls these players almost from nowhere. Yeah. And
players I'd never heard of.
Exactly. Certainly. And I think a few managers at this level I haven't heard of, because they would have gone for them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So full credit to Chaddy, because again, I go back to the fact that he started with nothing.
Well, if you think back to the first one we did of these,
and we had literally nothing to talk about. Do you know what I mean? We had no players to talk about.
Well, Cesar Lingubu, who
of course
never came back.
Of course.
And Jesse Abiselli, who's drifted away. I think he was injured, and I've not seen him since.
And Adam Rooney, who had to drop down a level to get regular football, and is doing well, which is good at City and Liverpool. But that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And that, I know I sound like a broken record, but it can't be underestimated. And I know we had pre-season, but then the fact of the matter is, when you start in competitive football as well, that's when you see, your squad in action. And then, because we didn't have a core, that has to change regularly until you find what is your core. And I think Chaddy has now found what is his core, in that who's at the back. We think about Jordan Fagbola was at the back for a while. He's now gone. Then Dylan Thompson came in on loan. He's really stepped up, and now we've got that solid centre back.
I really like Mo
Ali and Dylan.
In terms of communication.
Yeah, Mo Ali and
the comms.
And Dylan at the back pretty regularly. There's your centre back partner now, and we only found that in February. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's because we didn't have a core. And then you move forward, you've got Ben Rydell playing regularly in the middle. It was better Siddy. Siddy's injured now, so that's had to kind of I think Ahmed Ali's kind of come in and filled that role. Yeah. But again, that was your core. You found that. Enoch and Lewis, right, there's your front two with sort of Scanlon on the wing. There's your core. But again, we only kind of found that in January, February time, when it's almost too late. And so, full credit to Chaddy for building this squad and sort of keeping us in it, because at the start of the season, you would have been crazy to say Colls would still mathematically have a chance, with 4 games to go. Now, of course, the reality is, I think everybody knows what's coming, but the fact of the matter is, mathematically, who knows, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy times. I do hope that in the summer we're not back to that square one. We're talking about, we've maintained a nucleus, I think is the word.
Yeah. And I think it's only natural from the offers I know have come in for lads before this transfer window closed, that lads turned down. That I think it's only natural that people are going to be looking at certain players, and people will leave, especially if we do drop down a level. But like you said, I hope too we managed to retain a nucleus. But again, what Chaddy's got here is he's now got time to plan. Because he can now have those conversations, because this is his squad, this is his club, this is his team, and so he's got that time to think, right, what's worked well this season, who's worked well this season, can I keep them, how can I communicate? He knows them, do you know what I mean? And people know him, and
I think it's important that the supporters know a number of the players.
100%.
It can't happen again that we bring in a complete new squad. I don't think you can survive that.
No, but if it does, it does. Do you know what I mean? Because
it's a hard sell. It's
a hard sell, and the fact of the matter is, we're not going down into a division with the biggest budget in that division either, because the money doesn't lie. Our budget is still going to be what it is in the league below.
It's such a competitive league,
and it's such a competitive league, and we're going into we will more or less likely be going into a league with still some massive clubs in there. Like, Bury could be in that league if their playoff.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't. But but financially, we'll take that.
Absolutely,
And then they're not there to make up the numbers.
No, there's not. There's so mmany teams not there to make up the numbers.
Runcorn Linnets, are in and around it again, aren't they?
Yeah, and
always consistently.
And look, it's obviously going to be more. I mean, competitive is the wrong word, because we've been competitive, but I think we're obviously going to have more wins than this season in that division. If we have to, I don't think it's going to be a complete rebuild. I don't think it's going to be a complete, new faces, but there will naturally. Put it this, I'm waffling here, but I'll finish on. There are players in this squad that are good enough to play in step 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are next season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas there are players that I think will come with us too. Yeah. And I think that's okay. It's happened before, hasn't it? And it'll happen again.
The thing with step 3 is that the teams are fewer in frequency. So Radcliffe are going, by the looks of it, going up.
Yeah.
So that takes one out of the equation.
And Warrington
Rylands. And then Rylands and Macclesfield and Hyde.
Hyde as well.
One of those guys is going up. I think Guysley in and around that, which is slightly out of our catchment area. Potentially another one of the teams will go. So that frees up players into that pool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that would obviously work in our favour. But all I can say is, in Chaddy we trust, because if he was able to build what he's got now from nothing, imagine what you can build with something. And Chaddy has got a knack of finding players that we don't know, and he's got a knack of looking after players.
Yeah.
Like, think of the relationship he's got with Lewis Mansell. He's got his relationship with Lewis Mansell is solid, and you know, Chaddy picked him up at a time when he was going to turn down football, and he's managed to reignite. And we as a football club have managed to reignite a love of football for Lewis Mansell. So if Lewis stays or goes, we can be proud of the role we've played because we as a club have given Lewis a chance. Lewis has enjoyed his football here, which is great.
I was way off being as good as Lewis. But if I'd had just a slight bit of his talent, I would have played
exactly
at whatever level I could.
But also his determination, because he's not had an easy season.
No.
Like, think about it, he was out earlier, you know, a long spell with the sidelines. Jordan Scanlon's got a dead close relationship with Chaddy. Siddy's got a close relationship with Chaddy, and that's with us again having nothing, and that's with Chaddy saying to these players, you need to come and build this with me. So who knows, but in Chaddy we trust is all I can say, and it will be good, because we're going into a pre-season now with confidence of knowing who we're playing pre-season.
That is the point, isn't it?
That
you're able to arrange these games,
but also knowing where we're going to train, knowing when our training's going to start, knowing what
numbers you will have,
and knowing roughly what squad you're going to retain, but also roughly what players you're speaking to, because you can do that. So this time last season we couldn't say that. We didn't know, and we still took a good month and a half for us to get there, you know. So it's positive. It's going to be a positive pre-season, I think, and one we need to be excited about. But like you said, Carl, the whole what kicked all of this off was the fact that, is it the 8th of June? Can't remember. It's early June, isn't it? It's that first week in June.
Right. Yeah.
We can't. That's when the registration reopens, basically.
There's no one signing on until.
So there's no one signing on until the 8th of June, because that's when the forms can officially go in.
So people may not remember, we talked about it last season. By all means, you can sign a contract, which is a contract
with
the club, but
as an employer, as it were.
And that's absolutely fine, but it's not signing on with the FA.
So a player may sign a contract with the club before the 8th of June, but that contract is meaningless until a form goes in with the FA, and those forms can only be submitted from the 8th of June. So from now until the 8th of June, you know, we as a club, as you know,
Emile could have a bit of a breather.
Emile can have a breather, which he rightly deserves.
He does.
But as a club, you know, we might, you know, retentions is a different story, I suppose. But when it comes to signing players, you don't expect anything until the 8th of June, because we as a football club, David Chadwick as a manager, as you know, doesn't like basically until it's sure.
He really talked about this last season.
What was the phrase he used? I was trying to think of the phrase he used. He said something, didn't he?
Yeah, but announcing people, we talked about people who have been announced by teams who never played for them. So that won't be happening. We'll announce players when the forms are signed as submitted.
From the 8th of June onwards. Retentions, like I say, are a different story, because I suppose there's a bit more trust there. I don't know. Or even retentions might be the same. That's an unknown, actually. I don't know about retentions myself. Sure. But 8th of June is the key date, which feels like a long time, but in reality it's not, because that's still a good 4 weeks before pre-season starts, isn't it?
Because that Bolton game is like 8th of June.
It's months.
Historically, I don't know, no idea if that's happening this year.
We shall wait and see.
So I was going to talk about a bit solemn for a split second.
Yes.
We talked about Vinny, and sadly, he did pass away. So
just on Vinny, he was it Boxing Day? I think it was the Boxing Day game. He collapsed just outside the Jimmy Fielding suite, and nobody knew why. You know, it was just out of the blue. He then didn't really go home from hospital before that, and I think it was late January he sadly passed away. It might have been late January, early February. But Vinny was a legend at the football club. You know, he was a character. He volunteered a lot of time here, didn't he? He was always by the tunnel, and you still find yourselves on match day today thinking, oh, Vinny's doing the tunnel. It's like, oh no, of course he's not. You know what I mean? And that's because he was a core part of this football club. But fundamentally, he was a lovely man. You know, he was a lovely man that enjoyed his football, enjoyed following the Colls home and away, And one of my favourite ever Vinny memories, I've got two favourite Vinny memories. Evening games, when I do the tannoy, I've got a script in my head.
Right.
And whenever we played in evening games, I'd always start by saying good afternoon, not good evening. And he always used to come up to me and say, remember, it's evening. And I was like, thanks, Vinny. And then this season, Macclesfield away, we were having a butty at half time. And Vinny came in, and he was wearing his United shirt. This is in the Macclesfield boardroom, because knowing full well who we were playing. And Robbie Savage was there, and Vinny was going on, can I have a picture with you? Then Steve Bruce was there, can I have a picture with you? And then Darren Fletcher was there, can I have a picture with you? And he was just having the most enormous fun you could tell. Yeah. And I'm just so glad he had that moment, because Vinny also, as we know, was a big United fan. Yeah. So
I didn't know that until was it Dave Fav said he knew him from the 70s from following United. Yeah.
And so, but then obviously found his second home at Colls, which is brilliant. But he was an enormous presence, so lovely. And
gone but not forgotten.
Yeah, 100%.
And then this week the news came out about Jimmy Parsons. Passed away.
Someone you mentioned.
Well, we mentioned him. We mentioned him that he said he really enjoyed it when we were doing another one, and I think we even dedicated it. This one's for you, Jimmy. I talked to him over the years about our social media, and because he didn't strike me as a guy, who was online all the time. Yeah. He just said, Geraldine showed me. So,
and I think Jimmy again was an enormous character, and I think he's been ill for quite a long time, Jimmy. I think, and anybody who knows him knew that and knew he'd been fighting for a long time, and he was just the way I describe Jimmy Parsons is someone who constantly wanted to have fun. He was always on the wind up. He loved winding people up, and he loved having a sing song, in his head. Like I think back that season when we won the North West Counties Premier Division, Jimmy was there every single game, wearing his 3/4 trackies and his old Colls raincoat, having a laugh and a beer and screaming and shouting. And I think the fact that Cleggy quote tweeted our tweet about Jimmy saying, really sad news, rest in peace, shows how close Jimmy was to the whole club. And I mean, because Cleggy, look, he's a big dog now. He doesn't have to if he doesn't want to when you're manager of Macclesfield, which is a full-time job.
He's true to his roots.
He's remembered Jimmy, and I think, he's such an enormous character, and he'll be greatly missed. And we're gonna have our moments on Saturday before the game, remembering him, because he deserves it.
I can remember not a particular moment, but those coach trips, probably in the FA Vars, and I'm just they're sort of merged in my head. Yeah. But there's Jimmy would be on them, and Payne who passed away, and I can remember the late David Norris, of course, as well. Yeah. Being on them, and it's kind of an end of an era.
Well, Paul Humphreys would have
been as well. Paul, sorry, how can you ever forget Paul Humphreys?
And it is at the end of an era, really, but. My God, how lucky are we to have those memories with them, And that's what football is, isn't it? Yeah. That's football is where you spend your free time. Yeah. The time where you're away from work.
It's kind of for those reasons that you still want to take the club forward for those people.
And it's those reasons why you watch non-league football as well, because if you go to the Reebok every week or Old Trafford, you never have those moments. Whereas Atherton Collieries, you have them once a week, and it is like you say, it's our responsibility now to make sure we continue to take the club forward. So
So I think that then fits in quite well with the new generation of players coming through.
So again, one thing I think Chaddy has done incredibly well, and this is. I was speaking to Paul Gregory about this yesterday, and I said David Chadwick isn't a manager that is only interested in the first team. Like, he's interested in the club as a whole, and making sure the club is in as strong a place as possible. So he doesn't just look at his playing budgets; he's looking at other budgets too. He's looking at X, Y, and Z. He's thinking about strategies we can do to help with the pitch, off the pitch, and sponsorship. He cares a lot about this football club, which is brilliant, for us, and. One thing he really cared about, and I think it actually stems from that first Q&A we did with when he was first appointed, and Kieran Morris, who kind of heads up the under 18s,
right,
the Atherton Colls under 18s team, asked him a question about youth progression. And I think he said, let's have a chat afterwards.
Yeah.
And Chaddy, true to his word, has been watching their training sessions, watching their games, has said to Kieran, look, if you've got any players you think are ready for the first team training sessions, please let me know. And I was speaking to him about this at Workington away, and he said, I'm not interested in players that you think are good. I'm interested in players that you think are ready to be tough tackled, that are ready to be elbowed.
Well, this was my thought. It was like, how many of them are ready to be smashed into by Lewis Mansell?
And to be fair, I think there's only been, over the course of the season, 4, which suggests that Kieran has really sat down and thought about this. And I think 3 of those have signed on, for the first team, which doesn't mean a great deal in practice. It just means you are available for selection.
You've just been in the dressing room
exactly.
and on the bench.
And then one has been started as a sub, as it were, and then one, of course, made their first team debut against Workington. Liam Shepherd. That's sorry, Liam's dad. But Liam Shepherd and
Nigel.
That's the first time that has ever happened.
Yes.
Since Colls have kind of took this youth band of clubs.
Because I never understood our youth structure. In previous years.
And I think now it's becoming a bit more streamlined. Now clearly Chaddy cares about it.
Which is not to say that Brad didn't care.
No.
Because he did bring in those players like Ryan Katumba,
etc.
Sort of on the bench. But maybe there weren't players who were actually ready.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is a slightly different wing of the Colls youth system, because it's not the Colls Academy. This is the under 18s, i.e. these are lads just from the local area that play football as a hobby, really. And I think, to be fair to him, he did brilliantly against Workington, Liam Shepherd, and that was the first time where you sort of sit back and think, this youth system's working it. And he might not play another game this season, but the pace he had, he was so fast. I mean, he's a small lad, don't get me wrong. I mean, you are going to have to bring him on in the...
People don't like pace, though.
Exactly.
People
in this league,
level like
especially.
Pace.
And you are going to have to play him in the right contexts.
Yeah, sure.
Because...
Go and have a run for 15 minutes, just run at them. Yeah. He's looking leggy, go and stand next to him and run him.
And the thing is, we were 3-0 up at the time, so you can take that risk, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look, it's progress, isn't it? It's progress. That's all it is. We've had a local lad from our own system come through into the first team. Like, when has that happened before?
Josh Thompson.
Well, but
via Celtic, but
of course. But it's not happened in a long time. And the fans were sort of chanting, he's one of our own and stuff like that, which was excellent. And fair play to Chaddy and Kieran, who I know in regular communication. And Chaddy there was one point actually where he played against Workington when he came on. He played the ball past the defender. He sort of like, the ball was played to him and he chipped it round and ran round him because he had the pace, he had the legs.
So it was like Gareth Bale.
Yeah, and Chaddy said to me, it was funny, when he trained with us on Thursday, Chaddy was playing centre-back as part of the training session. And, Chaddy's an experienced lad at this level. And Chaddy said I was giving it to him tough, like I was proper digging in and stuff like that. Yeah. And the ball was played to him and he did exactly the same thing and put me on my arse. And he said, he did it again. The second time he did it, he put it on his arse. Yeah. And third time I knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah. And I know he doesn't have the experience to know that I know. So he did it and I put him on the floor. Yeah. And I said to him, the lesson you need to learn is to not be predictable. Yeah. And then he did it a third time. He did it a fourth time, knocked it the other way. And Chaddy again was he just went straight past him. So, and I thought that guidance, especially because Chaddy's an experienced pro at this level when it comes to playing centre-back. Yeah. Is so key from a youth team point of view. So really positive. Congratulations to the lad and congratulations to Kieran as well. And look, long may it continue. That partnership's alive and well, which is brilliant.
Rob wants us to mention that team is entering the FA Youth Cup.
Yes, which is another massive step forward, because the FA Youth Cup is something you've got to apply for, and if you're not playing at the right level, you've not got the right management, you won't get there. So Atherton Collieries will be playing in the FA Youth Cup next season. There is a registration fee, but the Colls Supporters Club have very, very kindly paid for that, which is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So this is a real stand up, be proud of yourselves, Atherton Colls, because this is good. So yeah.
Shout that from the rooftops. Hopefully you get someone decent and we play it here and we get a good crowd on.
You never know, do you? There's potential, but again, it's all about learning, isn't it? Like these lads, this is high level knockout football. Yeah. So it's a valuable experience.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Yeah, let's see what next season brings, but it's a real positive. So yeah, well done to Chaddy, Kieran, and the sports club. Yeah.
So the reason we started these podcasts was to talk about what's happening at the club. We both turned up in matching tops.
Yes.
Completely accidentally. This is this season's training top.
Yeah.
You've been involved in the kits for next season.
Yeah, so we have, and I don't think we can talk too much about that, to be fair. But it's
just an idea that these things are in the system.
Yeah, it is, and we're always alive, always alert, and we're always thinking.
There's work going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've started basically planning our new kit launch video, which is exciting.
Just been talking about that.
We're meeting on Saturday to talk about branding and talk about wording for next season, talk about how we sell next season. So it all goes on, doesn't it? And it's hard.
It never stops.
It's hard to put a sort of. It's hard to sort of talk about it because it is this kind of constant process, isn't it? Yeah. Because last season we started with new era, new stripes. So this season it's about we can't use that phrase again because it's not really a new era. So it's like what do we do? How do we phrase it? You know, what things do we need to emphasise? Because we're proud to be from Atherton, but we're proud to be Colls as well. We've got kind of two names almost as a football club, haven't we?
True.
So it's what do we use? What do we emphasise? And this is the bit of the job I enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got to be creative. And then, we were talking about for a kit launch video, where do we do it?
Yeah, if anyone's got any ideas, let us know.
Because I thought we did really, really well with the kit launch video last season, using that Colliery and stuff like that. But it's now, we've used that. We can't use that for a good 5 years, really, now, can we? So,
3.
Yeah. So what?
So I did quite like it.
Yeah. What do we go for? So it's about thinking outside the box, really. And so that's what the process has started. So if you do have any ideas, let us know for sure.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
Sure. So
one thing I was going to mention was the ongoing technical problems I have with this camera.
Yes.
No one noticed Jordan Scanlon's goal against, was it Workington that we beat 4-3?
Yes. Oh, Morpeth as well. We beat Morpeth 4-3.
Was it Morpeth? Whichever game.
Workington was Boxing Day, so that was quite a while ago.
It might have been the
Morpeth.
Yeah, when Jordan curled one in, when I think the ball had come from Ben. There's a jerk on the video.
Right.
And that's because it changed file.
Oh, I see.
At 22 minutes, it starts a new file.
Right.
4 gigabytes. And at that precise moment,
it decided to...
And there's a few frames missing. But I submitted that to the league, no problem. And then Rob messaged me, there's no audio. For the moment he receives the ball, there's no audio. So what we had to do, because there's another camera recording it, we had to take the audio from that and plug that on top.
So how many cameras do you have recording the game on a match day?
So for the Baseford game, I was sat in the stand watching it with Bernadette. Rob was operating that camera with that spare camera on top, and I had 2 other cameras pointing at the goalmouth, so we guaranteed to capture anything that happens. And then there's the VO thing, which is that our cameras have 5. Yeah. I know that I had 2 GoPros behind the nets, so 7.
Wow, I mean that's it. And
well, I've got 3 God knows how many GoPros, but no one to do what I did against Baseford. I don't know, I can maybe clip in the footage of that Enoch goal if anyone's not seen it.
It's it.
Yes!
But we caught it from both posts essentially. I haven't got time to find out which way we're kicking you know, and when I'm pointing the camera, I'm going tape those up to posts and press record.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't really want to leave what is a couple of £100 worth of cameras.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
The dream is to have the GoPros behind the nets and to.
But it takes a long time to process it all as well, doesn't it? Which I don't think people realise.
It's not. It's not too bad on the GoPro footage because all I'm doing is clipping out the 30 seconds, but the full match footage, it's just a pain.
Yeah. And
I have to find the goals. That's the problem. So I have to go back to football web pages. At what point did we score? And I am quite good at fast forwarding through and going, oh, that's a celebration if I ever did see one.
Yeah.
You know, or a goalkeeper having a tantrum.
Yeah.
But it's really important that before football web pages, me and Rob would be filming. He make sure you get the minutes for the same reasons. So we then found an app which was a refereeing app.
Oh right.
Which we.
Yeah.
You know, so the Twitter account
was accurate. Was as accurate as it's ever going to be. Yeah, for sure.
So these are some of the many things that go on.
100%. I think it works because we were talking earlier that attendance against Baseford was
superb.
Was over 300, which for anybody who doesn't know, Baseford, and this is through no disrespect, they don't travel the best, do they? You know,
it's a hell of a journey.
Yeah, it's a hell of a journey, and ultimately, they sort of bring sort of 10 to 15. So they only had about 10 to 15 that day, but. Fair play to Rob. Rob worked incredibly hard in the week up to that, promoting the game using a variety of different strategies. And ultimately, we as a football club we count every penny from who and what we can get through the ground because that is our main source of income. And for us to get over 300 against Baseford's huge, especially given the fact that both clubs are in the position they're in terms of the league table. So all I can say really is thank you really for your continued support because again our average attendance this season has actually increased.
If we can keep that next season,
100%, then we're cooking on gas and we're in a good position.
This is going back 5, 6, 7 years. This is all I talked about was building a support, a fan base who. Colls was their first club. And we've achieved that. There's people now who say I support Atherton Collieries, not Man United, or there are few and far between. But there's people genuinely this is their team.
Like so, I was at Lee Leopards the other week, and somebody was wearing a Colls pop hat, and I didn't know who they were. And that's the best feeling in the world because that shows you have moved beyond your circle now. And I think it's something we can continue going, and I think it's something we're good at. As a football club, we are good at selling our story, and sometimes we get a bit frustrated with ourselves because we perhaps don't do it as well as we could do, but we do it. And
I do think we need to learn our lessons.
And
reflect on what we've done well.
And think how can we do it again, or how can we do it slightly differently? So, and that's what Saturday for us as a team is all about, isn't it? Just sitting down and thinking,
so we've got a meeting on Saturday. Before the game. What's
going to be our plan for next season? Because we've done well this season. What's going to happen next season?
One of the things the video needs to improve.
And
I think we'll probably do these next season.
100%.
Because I think they're valuable.
I
think we go back to the original plan of having guests on. We tried to get Emil here tonight. Unfortunately, he was busy because we asked him quite late. But he did say he was up for the end of the season extravaganza special. I know. So I am already excited.
I think we should try and do a live one with a table and get Chaddy on too, maybe four people. Not live on here, but let's get this up and have a live audience in the clubhouse.
Oh, okay.
We've never done anything like that before.
The audio, I don't know if you can see this mic up here. Hopefully that's recording into that recorder and I can just use this audio. We've got these as a backup going to another one. And I couldn't wire the cables up correctly. But the audience thing, what we'd have to do is to have on question time where you put your hand up and someone with a boom puts the mic over. You could do that. Yeah, you could do that with ease even.
So maybe it's something we think about. We've got the end of season do is happening after the last game of the season. Now obviously that's not an appropriate time to do something like this, but maybe in the closed season we can arrange a date. Because it's good for the club as well to get the bar open. So,
yes, that's true.
I don't know if there's anything else.
at the end of the season, is there going to be an awards and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Because that, I didn't know, because I don't know what's going on. It didn't happen last season for whatever reason. I think it is important that we do that.
Definitely, 100%. And that's going to be our last game at home against Worksop. That is going to be them. Yeah. So, stay behind. It's all going to be released in details because we're just sort of finalising the arrangements and stuff like that. But we'll do a video as we usually do, celebrating the achievements of the season and stuff like that. So,
we've got some good content from this 100%. Season.
And it's been it's been a season of, I think, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, I think, in many ways. But the fact that we're finishing the season competitively is all we could have ever asked for,
The fact that we're finishing the season, there's teams don't finish seasons.
Marsh United didn't this year.
And it's not a rarity.
And the thing is, ultimately, when you're going into, when there's a month until pre-season, you've not got a manager. You put yourself at risk there. But Chaddy's come in, he's took on the challenge, and he's made the job his own, he's made the club his own, in incredibly difficult circumstances, financially, that is, with the budget and also logistically, because we didn't have a pre-season schedule set up because the manager sorts that out traditionally, and he's just took it all in his stride and he said, bring it on, and so this is now his to shape for next season, which is exciting. So 100%.
We've got it's the Friday night before the Stafford game. I was hoping that the kit would be put up, which helps the audio. Stops the reverb echoing. I believe that Josie now does the kit on the Saturday morning, so she does that, and then she's cooking chips and pies.
Club legend,
a trooper.
And Paul's on early morning. Emil will be on early morning. Bod will be doing the pitch. They tend to go on about. I think it does tend to be about 8-9 a.m. Josie. I don't know how she does it, and I don't know what Paul's managed to do to persuade her to do it, but she does the kit now.
I think back to that Radcliffe game, which is the hottest I've ever been in my life.
This season?
Radcliffe game. I was pouring water on my head.
Yeah, of course, it was really warm.
Josie's in there cooking pies
and
in an oven, like the building's an oven.
I will never forget when we played. We have that BWFC Remembrance game. Yeah. And that was my first ever shift in the tea hut. Yeah. I remember thinking, I can never do this again.
Were you knocking out hot dogs?
Yeah, and honestly, they were the least presentable hot dogs you've ever seen in your life. Like, it was half a sausage in a bun because I was just breaking everything. And Josie, bless her, had the patience of a saint. So we would literally be lost without volunteers. And there's not one person that takes a penny out of this club, really, and it all goes into the same pot. And I don't think people, maybe we need to do an episode on this somehow, but
people ask me when you randomly get talking about what you get up to and whatever, and you're often talking about what you do here, and the reaction always is, have you seen that Wrexham programme? I would have liked to have done that 5 years ago, way before Netflix. Sort of based on the way the BBC did the Salford City one.
Yeah, it was good, that was
and we could have done that one here. Because with the characters.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of the idea. Yeah. I don't know how we go about doing that. Like, I used to do little videos before every game, just to show the ground and whatever. And I always used to get Carol Monk into them. Just things like that.
But the problem is we don't have the time, do we, realistically, on a match day? Nobody has the time. And the amount of work that goes on into the lead up of a Saturday home game is unreal, just absolutely unreal. So fair play to all those volunteers, because we know how committed they are, and it's what makes Colls ultimately, isn't it? And I think, truthfully, that's why players like Lewis Mansell stay, because it's so unique and it's so unheard of now in non-league football, but it's what makes us us. So chuffed to bits with that.
And we've got on Tuesday, I think.
Macclesfield.
Macclesfield game is a big game, isn't it?
For them, for us, and it's a shame it's not a Saturday. There was no reason why that game on the original Saturday could have gone ahead, because both players were willing to play, and a referee passed it fit not 2 hours before that. But hey ho, And you know what? I'm really pleased for Cleggy. Yeah. Really pleased for Cleggy, and I hope he can do it, because he deserves it, doesn't he?
I saw him in Manchester City Centre, and I was just pulling into work, And I was like, Michael! I hit the window. But that was the week he got the job. But I didn't get a chance to speak to him because I'm
driving.
Yeah, we had the quick, how's it going, sort of thing. I've not seen him since then. I've not spoken to him since then.
Oh, I bet it's been mental.
Yeah.
Because I think they train during the day there. They train.
They do, yeah. I listened. This is how invested I am in Cleggy.
The podcast.
I listened to Robbie Savage's podcast.
Oh right,
which
Robbie Savage's.
I'd rather pour molten lava into my ears mostly, but it was about Cleggy and then he was on it. So yeah, they train in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Danny Laugh's gone there as well.
Yeah, and I'm pleased for Danny Laughs as well because he deserves success. He deserves success, and Cleggy deserves success. And what you can say about Cleggy is, my God, he's put the hours in. He started at Heinsford, LR here. Yeah. Then United didn't go well, but he didn't let that put himself down. Went to Rylands, did a remarkable job. Who Rylands are still up there with Clive, Ben and co, and then obviously onwards to Macclesfield. So yeah, it's good for them. And we know we've always got a friend in Cleggy, which is good. Although when that whistle goes off, we all know what we think and who we're going to back. But wish him all the best, really do. So yeah.
I think we should try and tap him up for a pre-season friendly. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be really good actually.
Yeah, try and build that bond back up 100%. Again. Because he loves the place.
He does. And he still lives around the corner, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He still literally lives 5 minutes away. Yeah. And I can't see him living anywhere else, to be honest, because he is Atherton born and bred, isn't he? So, yeah. And obviously Nicky Hunt's still local. Lewis Hardcastle.
Yeah, Lewis Hardcastle
is local. There, So yeah.
Would you be surprised if Ben ended up there?
I'm surprised. I'll tell you what. I'm surprised he's not there already. You know what I mean. So yeah. Good luck to Macclesfield. Really, best of luck. Because when we went there, it was a remarkable facility, and I know fans. Well, we had to pay as well. We still pay on for away games at £17, and I know some clubs do sort of question that, but it is what it is. The facility. It's a football league facility. And you can't deny that.
I do think that we should have upped the charges for them, but what can you do?
We've got to look after our own fans as well, though. If we segregated, perhaps.
Well, precisely.
That's the difference. And it's good. Look, it's been a really interesting season. It's an interesting league. The playoffs are there. I'm looking at the league table below now, trying to work out what next season's going to look like and stuff.
Rob pointed out that Congleton, who were in the Northwest Counties,
but now in the Midlands,
they dropped into the Midlands combination.
They didn't drop in, did they? They were moved sideways.
I say drop, I mean geographically.
Yeah.
Along with Norwich, Victoria, and they've been promoted.
So it's going to there's no necessarily saying they're going to be in the Northern Premier League West Division, because there is a Northern Premier League Midlands Division.
Well,
so
yeah, that's true.
We'll have to see, because the Northern Premier League West Division is very Liverpool heavy at the moment. There's a few. 1874 have been relegated. 1874 Northwich. Withenshaw have been promoted. So
Hensford were in that league.
Hensford are now in the Midlands one, I think. Oh no, they've been relegated. Yeah. They're in the relegation zone. Yeah,
they're in the zone.
Which is unbelievable. It came up on my memories today. This day 6 years ago.
Was that the day?
Hensford.
Jordan Cover.
Yeah. The journey home down here, down the beat roads.
Well, we went for a carvery before the game, didn't we? And then
for a McDonald's after. That was the concerning thing.
McDonald's all the way.
I forgot about the carvery.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a brilliant day. A brilliant day.
Oh, I've got one final one that just reminded me. Gibbo.
Oh, congratulations to Gibbo.
Because Gibbo will be watching this.
It's in this minute as well. He'll get this.
Congratulations to Gibbo and Chloe.
Yeah, who are engaged. Gibbo is someone who's not come on the club much recently, but his geographical location is probably the main hindrance there. He now lives up in Carlisle. He comes down every so often, but he's a great personality when he comes down. He's someone that's put plenty of hours into the club, hasn't he? Massive congratulations.
The lottery winners gig in the clubhouse was pretty much all Gibbo's doing.
Right. So
yeah.
There we go. Big well done to him. Big well done.
Look forward to catching up with him soon.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we'll
sign off.
Yeah, over and out. Cheers.